Member for Prince George Mackenzie.
Thank you, Speaker. Of the 54 million hectares of vegetation covering our province, approximately 30 million could be considered productive forests. 60 years ago, British Columbia converted from select logging to clear-cut logging. Over those 60 years, close to 20 million hectares have been clear-cut, eliminating the biodiversity necessary to support all forms of wildlife. Loss of habitat has eliminated over 50% of BC's wildlife populations. It will take more than 100 years before recovering habitat will be sufficient to support those disappearing species. But the loss of habitat is only one consequence of clear-cut logging. The loss of forest cover resulting from clear-cut logging and wildfires has impacted the hydrological integrity of our watersheds. Over the past 15 years, forest hydrology studies from UBC have now linked the loss of forest cover to the rapid melting of snow in snow-dominated regions of BC. Rapid snow melt contributes to increased flood events in every watershed subjected to the loss of forest cover. The loss of forest cover contributes to the evaporation of moisture in the ground, increasing the risks of wildfire. Studies have determined it takes on average 80 years in the southern interior for conifer trees to reach a height necessary to provide protection from the sun's radiation, vital in slowing down the snowmelt. It will take in excess of 100 years for conifer trees to reach that same critical height in the central and northern interior. The biodiversity necessary to sustain our once world-class wildlife populations and the ecological diversity of our province has received little consideration in clear-cut logging. Based on science, none of British Columbia's forests subjected to clear-cut logging over the past 60 years have sufficiently recovered to protect our watersheds from flooding, and no clear-cut has recovered sufficiently to provide the necessary habitat for fish and wildlife recovery. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "The nation behaves well if it treats the natural resources as assets which it must turn over the next generation increased in value and not impaired in value." Mr. Speaker, are we failing the next several generations of British Columbians?